Alright, so in this part what we're going to do is look at adding in some controls. Let's see if we can keep it to about 12 minutes for this part as well. So I'm going to start by creating our initial control. Now one thing I noticed, and I had started working this way, but I do prefer working along Z. Right now it's along X, so I should have probably reoriented the bus pointing along that direction. Now it's fine, we just have to know that we're mirroring across Z and not X, but in the future, also, let's see here, what's this guy right here? That's another, let me get rid of that. So I've got this circle, so let me just create a nicer shape with that. So I'm going to grab every other vert and just snap it so that they're aligned, just to create a little bit more of a square pattern that I'm going to fit underneath the bus here. So it's kind of a bus shaped. There we are, kind of a bus shaped control. And I'm also going to go in and add in just one more control on top of that. So just make that a bit bigger, something like that. So this will just be for translating it, basically. Then we're going to go into one above the bus. Now this one's going to be for squashing the bus and stretching the bus, as well as when we move it left and right. It's going to be for giving it the bending, left and right bending. And then we're going to have one this way at the front of the bus. This will be for the twisting. Something like there. And then another one at the back of the bus, somewhere around here. So we can twist from either side, similar to this. So we have a start twist, and we have an end twist. Right? I think that's it. So we got the bend, we got the squash, the twist, and what was this bend again? Let's see. Let's zero that one out. Oh, I think it was for bending it right, left and right, so it can bend a little bit this way or this way. So I think the twist will also be for the maybe not. I wonder if yeah, because I was thinking if we move this, that could bend it. Maybe we could just add in a bend control for that. Just maybe on this top control, perhaps. Okay, so we got these guys. I was also thinking of maybe adding in one more nonlinear, just to give it a bit of road noise, right? Because it's going down a road, it's going to be bumpy possibly, or it's in the winter, there's snow on top, so there might be little ice patches and stuff. So what we could do is add in a sign deformer. So if I go under nonlinear again, under sign, and what the sign deformer does is it creates a wave through the object using the amplitude. Just kind of increases the effect of that wave. So you can kind of see the amplitude here is changing the size of that wave there, right? We can increase the wavelength, so we can have more or less. So what I want to do is I want to rotate this 90 degrees this way. So it's a 90, and then this one's 0. And I'm just going to decrease the amplitude and maybe lower that down a bit. So maybe something really, really low, like 0.001, 0.008 maybe. So what we can do then is with this offset, as I run through it, you get this little bit of noise that happens, which is kind of a neat thing, right? So, if that's a little bit too wavy, we can increase our wavelength a bit. So now it's just going to be a little bit of a kind of a putter, but a little bit nicer than just an up and down movement, because it does look like, you know, it hits maybe here first and then goes down through the back tires, right? It looks like it hits up and then it trickles through. So you do get a little bit of a nice kind of a randomized motion, a little bit. Organic, it's very organic. So I'm going to keep that. All right, so we'll put that one under our nonlinear group. Oh, by the way, I did group all these guys together right before this video. Sorry. So we have our nonlinear group. All right, so we got these controls. Let's label some. So we'll call this one bus. So this is our squash bend CTL. This is our front twist. CTL. I'll copy that. This is our back twist. Then we have our translate 1 and translate 2, so master control. And this will be like an offset, it's master offset. Cool. And I do want to parent these, but before doing anything, I'm going to just freeze transformations and all of that. Delete history on them all. Just do a very basic parenting. So this goes to this guy. So this will move that. This guy is going to go to this guy. There we go. And these two guys are also going to go under this guy. So I have this little cube type thing, and all that's going to stay together. So then what we want to do is put this guy under the master control. It's a non-linear, which means that all of this can move together. And nothing's bound with a non-linear deformer. So what I might want to do then is constrain the bus group. Well, not necessarily the bus group. Might have to come back to that one. For argument's sake, let's say the entire bus group, sure. All right, so I'll take that bus group and constrain it. So constrain parent. All right, so we've got this, and it's going to move all of that together, essentially. No double transformations with nonlinears. All right, so let's just take these two guys, group those together, and we're going to call this bus group. And this bus group that you already have, I'm going to change that to bus geometry group. And this is going to be in a group called bus rig group. All right, good stuff. These guys here that are floating under the bus, these are the locators that we use the rivet constraint for. We're going to group those together, and we'll just call this just a do not touch. Do not touch. And it's just something that shouldn't get moved or parented with everything else. But I could put that under the main bus group for now. Cool. All right, so let's set up our controls. For this, I think I'm going to use set-driven key for this. It's probably the easiest way to get exactly what I want. I'm also going to set up limits on this as well. So we just got to figure out what those limits are going to be. So right now, well, to do that, first of all, I'm just going to go into the attribute editor, so Control A, under the transformation node. We're going to go under the limit information. And this is going to be translate that we're going to deal with here. So let's start by looking at our let's go into object space. So it should still be the same. So Y is up. Let's see what -1 to +1 gives us. Probably not very much movement. it's probably enough movement though. So let's maybe go negative 2 to positive 1. So something a little bit more like that. So we've got a couple options. We could do a set-driven key, or we could do some connections through using a multiply-divide node. It really depends on what you want to do. I think maybe the set-driven key is probably the fastest way to go through this. So I'm going to go into the connection editor, sorry, the channel box, and just select any random attribute. It doesn't matter, just so we can access the set-driven key. And this is going to be our driver, and then the squash deformer input is going to be the driven. So we just want the squash, and we're going to be controlling the factor. So translate y, is that up and down? So we're going to key that. There it is, it's keyed. I'm going to go to the, so you're keying the default position first where this is at 0. I'm going to go to the maximum position, and I'm just going to increase this factor to about where I think, what's the maximum for this squash. Maybe something like that, like a negative 0.2. Maybe I don't want to go any further than that, so I'm going to key that. And then I'm going to take this and then raise that up to the positive value, the maximum value. And then same thing with the factor. I'm going to go in and increase that to where I think that should be. So, maybe not quite exactly the same, so maybe like a 0.15 maybe. And I'm going to key that. Cool. And now we've got this guy. So now it controls the squash and stretch. That's easy. So let's zero that out. Make sure you zero that out. So now we're going to do the next one. Let's do the bend. So under do not touch. Oh no, under rig. So let me select them through here. So we've got the bend 1. And remember, the bend is this way, so it's bending kind of this direction. Now it looks like it got lowered a little bit. I have to confess, I did lower everything down slightly, just so that it is sitting on the axes. So I am going to have to just reposition this, just so that, again, this bottom, this guy is sitting on the bottom, so that it doesn't, the bend doesn't cut into the tires so much. It's a little bit cutting into the tires, but I think that's okay. All right, so let's figure this out. So I'm going to zero that curvature. So this is going to be what looks like it's going to be Z, so front and back. So translate Z is going to control the bend 1. So let me select that. I'm going to select the input and load that. There it is there, bend 1. Curvature. So we're going to key the default where nothing's moved. And then again, we want to set our minimum maximums for this. So this is the Z value. Let's just go -1 to +1. So it's only going to go, well, it's not really a lot. Let's go maybe -3 to +3. It's going to give us a little bit more room to move that. And again, it's going to be very subtle. If you want it more than that, we could always go, maybe like -5 to +5. Yeah, something like that maybe. All right, so let's go to our negative value. So that's, or I guess that's positive, sorry, so positive value. And we're going to go into the bend handle and the curvature, and we'll just kind of go to, whatever we think the extreme needs to be. So maybe like a -35. It could be as much as you want it to be, right? But I think, maybe -45, let's say. So I'm going to key that. And then I'm going to take this and go over to the other side, and I'll do the same thing. So that is now going to be +45. +45. Why did I just put negative? It's been a long day. So let me key that. So now we've got this guy that slides back and forward. Now the cool thing is, because we have the squash on here too, we can get like this really kind of cool behavior out of that now, right? So that's pretty awesome. All right, so the next thing we want to do, let's zero this guy up, is our twist. So we want to twist through the bus now. So that's these guys. So I'm going to load both of these up as the driver. I'll do one at a time. And then Now this guy, we don't really have a front and back going on. That's something we could have added as well. So you're welcome to do that. It's just another bend deformer angled this way. So basically we can get all axes going on, which could be really interesting. Especially if it's going really fast, you could bend it backwards a little bit. That could be interesting. And when it stops, you could do a little bit of a slide forward and back. If I have time, I'll go back in and add that in. All right, so I got this. Let me grab the twist. I'm going to grab the input, load that in. So we'll do the front first. So that would be the start angle. I'm pretty sure. Let's just double check. Start angle. Nope, it's going to be the end angle. There we go. So same thing. I want to set up some minimum, maximum values for this. I also want to probably lock down the translates for this as well. So let me just lock down translates in scale. So just lock and hide those. I should probably lock and hide the other one too that I'm not using. And then we just got to figure out what rotation are we using. So it's going to be the X handle. So we can just lock this stuff down too. So lock selected, lock and hide selected. And same for this stuff. So we just need the X value for the rotates. Oops. Lock and hide selected. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is select this. This is rotate X. We're going to key the default. And then I want to go into my limit information. Now this one's going to be for the X value. So let's just go, 45 is probably way too much for what we need. Let's go maybe 20 degrees. Let's see, what was 45 going to give us? Yeah, maybe that's okay. So it's going to give us a little bit more like, this type of thing. That might be a little bit too much. Maybe -20 to +20 might be better. So it gives us, just a little bit of movement there. So go to the default. So again, I think I keyed it already, but I'll just do it again. You could always key over top. I'm going to go to the 1 angle, and then let's just go and do that. So let's go -20, and we'll key that, and we'll just do the same thing for the other side. Now for this, we could have probably have maybe done direct hookups, I think. Well, it is doing the opposite, or is it? No, it's the same. We could have probably done a direct hookup. So I'm going to key that. So now we've got this guy that controls the front of the bus. And we just want to do the same thing for the back of the bus. So that's this guy, rotate X, and that's the start angle, key the default. And then we want to do the same thing. We want to turn on the limits, and we're going to go -20 to +20. All right, so let's go to our negative, or it doesn't matter which side. So this is the start angle. So that's going this way, so that would be 20, key that. And let's go to the other side. I could just manually grab it, just make sure I'm going to the max. And that would be -20. Whoops, wrong one though. -20. There we go. Cool, so now we got this guy that will go back and forward. And then we got this guy that will go this way. Cool. Let's do one more bend. As I was mentioning, we could do kind of a front and back bend. So again, I'm going to select the bus driver and the bus. We're going to add in one more nonlinear. Let me just do an increment and save quickly first. So we'll add in one more bend. And let's just figure out what direction that's bending in. Alright, so I'll go... you know what? That's not going to quite give us what we want, I don't think. Well, maybe. If we were to get rid of the low bounds, increase the high bounds, and maybe rotate this. Yeah, it could be kind of cool, right? A bit of a, if it's skidding to a halt, you can kind of do a little bit of secondary. That could be kind of interesting. So let's zero that. So again, set driven key. So this is going to be our driver. And basically we're dealing with X in this case. So let me just put on the limits for that. And same thing, we'll go like -5 to +5. Cool. And the driven element is going to be this bend, this new bend handle. And just make sure you grab the input when you're opening this, or it won't load the thing into the. All right, curvature, X, so key the default, and we're just going to move that forward, and that is going to be bending this way, maybe like 20, key that, and then we're going to move it back, and it's going to bend the opposite way, you know, until what, something that looks good, key that. Cool. I should have maybe rounded it up just a bit, but you know, that's fine. So now we've got this action, right? So we can get some cool little motion, and we got side-to-side motion as well. That's awesome. And then we also have some twisting. It's going over a jump. You can get like some cool twisting going on. Now for the twisting, we probably want maybe the tires to move along with it maybe a bit. So that's something we're going to want to look at once we get those tires rigged up. That's going to be part 3. So I think that's good for now. It's a little bit longer than I thought, but you know, it's still not too bad setting up all that stuff. It's all going to move together now, and it's all going to have some neat very cartoony kind of functionality. So next video, which will probably be tomorrow, I'm going to do the tires, and oh, maybe doing the hookup for the sign deformer, because we don't really have that hooked up at the moment either. But this is something that's going to need to be turned on or off depending on whether it's moving or not, and on how fast it's moving. The faster it moves, you know, the faster this needs to go as well. So we want to look at maybe controlling that through something. All right, so let's end it there. Okay, cheers, bye.